There is a clear reason why I didn't make this video yesterday. I just couldn't stomach it. So Sega and Paramount had just released the official trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie yesterday, and I've gotta say, I can 100% understand why there's more dislikes. Because the movie itself just looks dreadful on just about every level. And even if the movie isn't out yet, it already feels dated. Now I'm going to let this be known that I am not exactly the biggest Sonic fan, although I have grew up with some of the games, but even then I've been more of a Mario fan first and foremost. But even then, the biggest problem I have with this trailer and this movie thus far is that it has no idea on what it's trying to be. Because it has no idea on either to be this more realistic take or embrace the goof from the video games. Because on one hand, it is mostly set in the real world and that it does feature mostly human cast, and also seemingly lacking in the other video game characters such as Tails and Knuckles. But then on the other hand, you get to see stuff such as Sonic turning into a ball, as well as some crazy robot minions that, while not exactly resembling any of the badniks, still look like something that you wouldn't see from the real world. And even some rings that can transport someone from one place to another, which kinda happened in the earlier games at least. Which I'm guessing is going to be a device on how they're going to introduce Sonic into the real world. But like I said, that's kind of the big issue because they don't know whether to embrace the goof from the video games or go full on realistic. And this is further evident with Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik / Eggman. Which granted he's probably going to be the only saving grace for the film, but even then I don't think he's going to carry the whole movie. But again, they have no idea on either to make this character more realistic or goofy. At least in terms of his physical appearance. Because we see that he's going to have a red jacket and even some goggles throughout the film, which will probably be somewhat of a progression for him to become Eggman. And then in this final shot in the trailer, which will most likely be the post-credits, just seems completely out of place compared to the rest of the film, which is unfortunate because this actually looks really good. And then let's not forget about the hedgehog in the room, of course being Sonic, which, for those who have been saying that the final look for Sonic wouldn't look anything like the concept arts and whatnot, you've really jinxed it upon yourselves because this just looks dreadful. Because this looks so much worse than what we've previously seen thus far. Because aside from his head, the proportions of his body is very human to the point where it just looks incredibly hideous. And to me, this design for Sonic reminds me so much of one of them terrible Alvin and the Chipmunks designs from the movies where it just looks beyond realistic. I mean, granted we could have had something much worse than this, and I still stand by that, but even still, this isn't acceptable. And I get that this is a completely different take on the character, but when you look at this design for Sonic, they have no idea on whether to make him realistic or where to take this character in terms of his physical appearance. And even then, the CG work on Sonic just doesn't look very good at all. And they look almost as dated as the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. I mean, granted this movie has quite a few months away until it comes out, but even then, I don't think the CG will be polished all too much given Paramount's previous track record. But that kind of raises the question on, who is this even aimed for? Because clearly this isn't aimed towards the die-hard Sonic fanbase, given the fact that they've taken too much liberties with the source material. And I'm sure they're probably going to say that they're aiming more towards a new fan base, which I honestly don't think they'll be fans of this movie either, given how horrendous it looks. And to me, this is clearly just a product from the producers, but even then, this is just a bomb waiting to go off. And given its troubled development, as well as some of the reshoots and all that bullshit, I highly doubt that it's even going to make a profit in the end. And say what you will about Detective Pikachu, but at the very least this is clearly from the director's vision. Plus it knows exactly what it wants to be, and it's trying to aim mostly towards the older demographic who have grew up with the Pokemon franchise, but at the same time giving some new fans something to appreciate. Plus, visually speaking, it looks really nice and they know exactly what they're trying to do in terms of merging the real world as well as the Pokemon world. And in that aspect, it's a lot more successful. So what do you think of the first official trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Do you think that this is a complete abomination, or do you think that you're just going to skip it entirely and focus on Detective Pikachu instead, which is probably something that I'm going to do regardless? Comment below and share some thoughts, and as always, thank you guys for watching this video, please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.